I'm Morgan Ryan. Welcome to my home. Come on in. So come on in. This is our green room. This is where we like to relax and unwind. It's very green, as you can tell, very naturey. We love plants here, so clearly we have to have at least a few to make it feel like it's a green room. In here, we like to obviously lounge in our little reading nooks. We like to scroll. We love our scroll time as well. And this room specifically, I really wanted to bring in nature inside, especially since right now it's a little bit cooler. We're in the winter months. So having something that feels like a sanctuary is the best way to have this room. Hi, I'm Morgan Ryan of Miss Maverick Muse. I'm a vintage fashion and beauty influencer, content creator, and designer. Today, I'm so excited to share my current collection I designed in collaboration with TWOPAGES. This collection includes 5 unique designs, each inspired by different eras and moods. Florals, vertical stripes, mid-century modern, chinoiserie, and toile, each with multiple colorways. The vision for this collection was to create warmth, softness, and vintage charm. I wanted the curtains to feel like heirloom pieces, timeless and classic, but with modern durability and accessibility. I'm known for my iconic vintage glamour and style, modern femininity, and artistic curation. This is the house I was born and raised in. It was built in the early 90s and it holds many of my earliest memories. This is where my love for style, beauty, and design first took shape. So here we have my chinoiserie design, and we have it in multiple colorways, and the green is what we ended up going with because we just felt it really tied in the green theme. And I just love how this feels like wallpaper almost, but without the commitment of wallpaper. And it's just a beautiful nature scene. We just love it in here. I love a grand moment, and this floral mural really sets the emotional tone of the room. It's expansive, romantic, and immersive. This space is meant for slowing down, reading, resting, and decompressing. So I wanted it to feel like a true escape, almost like bringing the outdoors in. Welcome to the dining room. This is where we obviously host a lot of parties, dinner parties, as well as all of the holiday parties. We are the hosts for that. I love how this is just so pastoral. I love this print in here. It really tied in the stripe color of the wallpaper, which was an original addition to this home from the 90s. And I just really feel like this print elevated this entire space and really just made it feel very colonial, but elevated. The toile was a fun design because it was like writing my own little storybook with the scenes. I added some Easter eggs for my followers in this design with scenes of my hobbies like picking flowers for arrangements and gardening, as well as a girl reading under a tree with my signature vintage Barbie hairstyle. It blends my love for fashion and home by incorporating pieces of my personal style into the fabric itself and is one of my proudest design elements. Welcome to the kitchen. This is where we obviously eat, cook, and sometimes have friends over and hang out around the countertop over there. This is one of my favorite spaces in the house just because, especially in the summer and springtime when everything's in bloom, it's so beautiful to eat your breakfast and look out here. And then in the evenings, we love closing these to kind of just create more of a mood. It just adds the extra warmth, and it's almost like a whole nother room when you close them, which we really love. I wanted the color of these curtains to match the cabinetry almost perfectly, and I think we did a pretty good job. I really wanted it to feel built in and almost like it was an extension of the cabinets, so it just felt like effortless and it was supposed to be here. I wanted this design in this room to read refined and soft but not overly showy. I wanted the colors to appear almost muted and faded to give a vintage feel. I chose TWOPAGES because their approach aligns so closely with my own. Timeless design, thoughtful craftsmanship, and fabrics that feel elevated and livable. This is our foyer. I love this space. The chandelier is a moment, I must say. We really wanted this space to be really open and grand when you first enter in, and I really love the openness and the height. We have a lot of extra height in this home, so I definitely feel like this is the room where you walk in and you just say, wow. And it's obviously the entrance, so we love it. And this is where the magic happens. This is my bedroom. This is where I shoot a lot of my content. So welcome to the Creative Maverick Muse room. This is my bedroom. Come on in, enjoy, stay a while. So this room has a lot of print, a lot of color, which is very me. This is where I shoot, like I said, all of my vintage fashion content. So it houses a lot of my little vintage trinkets and things that I've acquired and sourced over the time. And a lot of my little fun little makeup things too, because this is my vanity in here. And I'm also a very big hat girl, so I had to have all of my vintage hats showcased and displayed perfectly for a little art moment. And for the design in here, because I have a lot of contrasting prints and a lot going on, I wanted something very grounding for the design. So we went with a classic staple with just some simple vertical stripes that tie in the colorway. Stripes have always been a stylistic choice in this home and were part of the original interior design, so bringing them back felt like a fun homage. Vertical stripes ground a room, bringing structure and balance. They're bold but timeless. I wanted to play up contrasting prints happening in this room by pairing them with more romantic florals. The curtains give the room order, which is needed as the room also serves as my studio where I create content, and it can be creatively chaotic at times. Okay, welcome to the vintage oasis. This is a collection that I've been building for years. This is where all of the true vintage lives, all of the knickknacks, all the purses, all the set props, all my favorite things, all my favorite colors. Clearly, I have the whole rainbow. But yeah, I'm definitely a big collector, so I had to have an adequate space to store all of it. And this is what we're working with at this point in time, so I'm sure it'll get bigger as I continue to collect. This is my little slice of heaven. My number one affordable design tip is to add charm with personalization. Whether that's a painting from your child that you have framed or a cherished family heirloom that you incorporate or draw inspiration from. So many of the items in our home came from my grandparents from bygone eras or were handcrafted. It adds a unique touch and is priceless. When starting to design a space, begin with how a room feels. Pay attention to light, movement, and where the eye naturally rests. And don't be afraid of restraint. Giving designs room to breathe creates intention and makes every element feel more meaningful. This was a lesson I learned from this project, and it's much like what Coco Chanel said about style. Before you leave the house, look in the mirror and remove one accessory. Sometimes less is more. This home came together through thoughtful layers, pieces collected over time, and memories woven into every corner. The curtains were truly the finishing touch and final accessory that brought everything into balance and made the space feel complete, styled, warm, and lived in. This space really came to life with 2 Pages. Thank you so much for visiting my home. I hope this tour inspired you to see your own space as an extension of your personal style. I hope you enjoy the designs.